ultimately what we're trying to do is help them reach the Sustainable Development Goals. We've been in business almost 10 years now. We've got great contacts all over the globe. Our research has really helped push this issue globally. We're looking to do more, and we're looking to grow over the next several years. So we're very optimistic that we can make some great progress going forward.
And the money that's already gone out of those countries, that's difficult to get that back, right? And to know the receiver and sender and so on.
Yeah, I mean, it is very difficult. You might be able to detect how much money has been taken by a government official, but to find it and have it returned, extremely difficult to do. It's very complex, very expensive. And so our view is far better to help keep it from leaving in the first place.
Mm-hmm. And that would be the progress when you start from now and stop it and forget about the old stuff, right? Look,
I would never tell a government or a country not to try to go get it, but if you have limited resources and limited time, the money might be better invested to implement processes and laws and regulations that would make it more difficult for new money to leave afterwards.
And my last question, what should be done, like, concretely, like, what do you ask to do to make it, like, what would be an action plan, like?
For governments?
For governments, for the US, for Africa, like, what should they do? What important steps, like, would you ask them to do?
Well, as we were saying earlier, misinvoicing of trade is the largest component of the illicit flows we can count.
How do you want to control it and check it?
Well, in the first instance, it should be illegal to misrepresent the value of goods on an invoice. In many places it's not. They haven't even put it in their laws yet. And so that would be the first step, make it illegal. We would also like to see the signature of company presidents or CEOs on an invoice saying this is the real price. We're not manipulating the price for any reason. So you have sort of a stamp from the company saying this is what the true value of the goods are. So you bring the company a little bit closer to the actual transaction. They're endorsing the transaction. And then I think there should be investments in the customs departments to help them detect when invoices have been tampered with, have incorrect information on them. So just those 3 steps alone, I think, can create tremendous progress in limiting the amount of illicit money that leaves these economies.
Mm-hmm. And then from a banking point of view, is there something you would change?
I think a lot of countries have to get very strict about the know your customer rules. Who are you actually doing business with? Can you find a beneficial owner of the company that wants to open the account, and can you verify that? I think those are all very important things. There are best practices that have been put out there by Financial Action Task Force and others that if more countries implemented them, they'd be a lot better off and a lot better able to reduce illicit flows.
And Panama Papers, what is your take on it? Like, what do you think about it after the revelations? Do you think it's a good thing? What will happen now, or?
Well, I think it certainly brings a lot of information that wasn't previously out there. It really highlights the severity of the problem. I actually think it's a crisis. The fact that you can open an anonymous company anywhere, almost anywhere in the world, with very little difficulty. Until the leading governments in the world begin to address that, begin to do things like Germany and France have said, create public registries of company ownership, we're going to continue to see a lot of money laundering. We're going to continue to see a lot of tax evasion because it's so easy to do.
Mm-hmm. And because of the internet, it's much easier than ever, right? The old days you had it wasn't so easy to send money abroad. Like now you go on the internet and you send from one internet bank to the other within a minute.
No, it's no problem at all.
Yeah. But the old days,
it's very quick to set up a shell company too. In Delaware, you can do it the same day. Almost no waiting.
No fees, almost no fees, right? It's very cheap.
Very, very cheap.
A few $100s.
A few hundred, maybe $1,000 or a couple thousand at the most. I mean, if you want to hire a law firm, you have to pay them. So there are some initial costs, but they're not so expensive that people can't afford to do it. That will be the interesting thing of these 14,000 clients that came out in the ICIJ investigation. There will be the corrupt politicians. There will be the rich sports stars. How many of them are not ultra wealthy? How many of them have wealth, but not millions, tens, hundreds of millions? How many of these people are just somewhat wealthy compared to most other people? But they're hiding money too. I mean, is the system so simple now to use that people of just even decent wealth can do it? If we begin to see that there's a lot of tax evasion by people who are just decently wealthy and not ultra wealthy, that's going to be a little scary, I think, for a lot of countries around the world, because they're going to realize how much tax they're probably losing offshore somewhere.
Yeah.
But time will only tell. I mean, we have to have more investigation and figure out what actually happened.
And do you think that ethical behavior and morality grows with a society, or is it always the same? I don't know. Like, how is? I think you get it as a kid. Your parents teach you to be fair and honest.
Right.
But how is that like developing? Like, if the culture goes up, the wealth goes up, the knowledge goes up. Does the moral also go up in general, or
maybe? I don't know. That may be a question for a philosopher.
Okay.
I'm not quite, or a sociologist. I'm not sure. You know, what I do know is that it's completely legal to set up an anonymous company, and when people know they can't be found out or can't be seen doing certain things, maybe it becomes easier to do those things. I don't know. Maybe it's sort of an enticement. They have the money, they have the vehicle. Who's going to know, right? I mean, who knows why people break the law, why they evade tax? You shouldn't do it, but we know a lot of people do it.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I also don't understand when it comes out. It's such an embarrassment. Like, you have family, you have kids.
Yeah.
The neighbor, the relatives. Like, what the hell do they think of you? Like, is it really worth it? A lot of stuff comes out at some point.
A lot of stuff comes out at some point. Yeah. Especially these days, there's leaks and
I don't
whistleblowers and all sorts of things.
It's not worth it. It doesn't pay. Like, look at Helmut Kohl, the German chancellor. He took all this cash and stuff and hid it. And
wasn't there a head of the German postal service or something get caught up in the Lux leaks or something like that?
He had to step down. He was close to getting in jail.
Was he?
He paid. He was like very close. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe pay a big fine or something.
Big fine, $1 million. He left the country.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. He bought I think a castle somewhere.
Did he really?
Yeah. He moved with the family.
To Luxembourg?
Something like that. Yeah, he did. Yeah, I think it's not. I don't know why do those people so short-term thinking.
Yeah,
like, why would you? Like, look, you make millions.
Yeah.
You're like big manager, like a huge corporation. Yeah. And isn't your image more important than another million? Like,
you would think that you wouldn't want to risk your reputation given your job, right?
Yeah, and your whole life. Like, you have so many decades still in front of you.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And then the risk, like going in jail, getting fined,
right.
Sitting in court for a year or 2 years, like, that's horrible.
Yeah.
That's like just to go like for 3 months in a jail. That's not worth it?
Right. But
I don't understand.
A lot of people risk it for some reason. I don't understand the thinking, but they must see some logic to it.
Yeah. Or they don't think about it.
Maybe they'll think that far down the road.
They're so high.
Maybe they think they'll never get caught.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can...
Or it's arrogant, huh?
Could be an arrogance to it, yeah.
That's amazing. I don't get it.
No.
And also with Schröder, the next chancellor we had in Germany, he was a social democrat, and he did those shady deals with Putin, like, and with a financial guy, like, he wrote a book. Nobody really was interested, and a friend of him bought it for €2 million, a book from a chancellor, like. And in the press was always the amount of 1 million, but it was really 2 million.
Oh,
and they said, like, why did you say it was 1 million? Oh, it was after tax. So he felt it's not right. So he spread the wrong numbers also. Like, that's crazy.
Jeez.
Yeah, I think. Maybe a lot of things will happen. I think the people want to read now about it, and they're interested. The public is interested.
I think that's true. I mean, it's scandalous, right? All these politicians, and it's sort of a look at how the other half live. How do the really rich people, where do they put their money, and what do they spend it on? And,
people.
There's all these shows on TV, The Rich and Famous, and what they do, and the big mansions and all that. And this is maybe an extension of that. There's two things. There's the sort of interest in how these people live, but it's also the anger that they can get away with tax evasion and money laundering and those types of things.
Yeah, because the little guy has no opportunity, right?
Excuse me, none.
Nothing. You
No.
can do zero. You go to work in a factory and the taxes goes automatically.
That's right.
What you can do? Nothing.
Can't do a thing. So, I think it may be two things. Maybe it's sort of happiness that these folks are getting caught too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we call it. You don't have a word in here in the US. We call it Schadenfreude.
Schadenfreude. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay.